All right, hello once again. This is Jeff Scott of Rankin Technical College, and I've been going over the W3 Schools jQuery online tutorial. So far, I've gone over the tutorial stuff here, and I just finished the effects. So now I'm jumping down into the jQuery HTML. All right. And as it says, jQuery contains powerful methods for changing and maintaining HTML elements and attributes. So in other words, you can manipulate the DOM using jQuery. And as mentioned here, jQuery comes with a bunch of DOM-related methods that make it easy to do this. We've talked about the DOM before in other lessons. The DOM is an acronym for Document Object Model. It is something that gets built for you automatically whenever you create a web page. As it says here, 3 simple but useful jQuery methods for DOM manipulation are text, which sets if it's on the right-hand side of an equal sign. If it's on the left-hand side of an equal sign, or returns if it's on the right-hand side of the equal sign. The text that's associated with a selected element. Then we have HTML, which sets or returns the content of the elements, but that includes the markup. So text does not include the HTML. HTML does. And val returns the value or sets the value of form fields. So if we look at some examples here, it says the following example demonstrates how to get the content with the jQuery text and HTML methods. Let's look at the difference between these. All right. It says here, show text. This is some bold text in a paragraph. Notice what it says. This is the bold text in a paragraph. It doesn't show the actual B tags that are in there, because show text strips out any HTML tags. Show HTML does not. Here we're getting the value. Hopefully that makes sense. That's the value that's in there. I don't know if we can change what's in there. All right, does allow you to do some manipulation. Many of these programs that are in here, many of these programs under W3 Schools, when you run something, it's pretty much set the way, basically that it's stuck. So again, the ID is test, and we're telling it to alert for an ID of test, give us its value, which is what was in there. The ATTR, as it says, is used to get attribute values. So if we look at that example, that's the attribute value right here. That's the value of the href attribute, and that's what we're asking for. Again, not sure if I'm able to change this. See how it changed? And there we've got it. Probably want to change that ID, but you get the idea. Again, as always, bonus exercises after this. All right, let's jump over to set. It says we use the same 3 methods from the previous to set content. But previously, when we were getting content, dot text, etc., we were alerting it, so we were just showing its current value. Now, when we're setting it, that's not an alert. We're actually setting its value. So here we're setting the ID of test 1 to hello world, test 2 to hello world bolded, and test 3 to Dolly Duck. Hello world. Hello world bold. Dolly duck. So we're going in here, and while the program is running, we are changing this. So again, it doesn't have to be this. Well, I guess I'd have to save it, wouldn't I? I don't want to do that. All right, I'll just keep the stuff in there that they have. Oh, I did take it. How's everybody doing? I feel happy today. Dumbo the elephant. All right. Yeah, I don't care. So let's jump over to add. With jQuery, it's easy to add new elements or contact. Notice 4 different methods. Append, which inserts at the end. Prepend, which inserts at the beginning. After, which inserts content after selected elements. And before, to put things before selected elements. So what do we have here? Notice what we're doing. We're telling it to append. We're having 2 appended paragraphs. All right. So I can keep clicking and keep adding appended item. So every one of those is being added from what you see in gray here, and all of the appended text here. All right. Prepend. So notice how it'll go before. So hopefully you start to see the power in this. If I wanted to, I could be building, for example, an ordered or unordered list on the fly. And if somebody changed their mind while it was going on, you know, wanted to, if it was a numbered list and I wanted to change the ordering, I'd be able to do that. Adding new elements or whatever. All right, I'm not going to keep running through every one of these. Hopefully, they're making some sense to you. The after method inserts content after the selected elements, the before the selected elements. All right, so insert before, that should come up there. After should come down here. Okay? And I guess it's over in here. But you can see what's happening. Add several new elements with after and before. Before and after can take an infinite number of new elements as parameters. The new elements can be generated with text HTML, with jQuery, with JavaScript, with DOM elements, any way you want. You can bring stuff in from a file. Okay. Again, I'm not trying to waste my time doing this. I'm not trying to waste your time doing this. I'm just telling you that if you want to learn this stuff, you should grab whatever, you know, if you find some different things in here, some different methods that look interesting to you, grab them, throw them into a file, and start to manipulate them. Remove is pretty much the opposite of add, as you'd guess. To remove contents and elements, there are 2 jQuery methods. Remove removes the selected element. Empty removes the child elements from the selected element. So we've got a div here. Remove it. Empty. Notice the div stays, but all of the elements inside of it get removed. Filter the elements to remove, as it says. It also accepts a parameter which allows you to filter the elements to be removed. All right. So we wanted to remove all of the red paragraphs. So we wanted to remove all the paragraphs that had a class of test. And as you can see, we removed those two. Now, had we come in here and put in another paragraph in between this that didn't have a class of test, this is a paragraph without the test class. Okay, something like that, that would go between those, and then it would not be removed. So this one shouldn't be removed, and you notice that it's not. Well, let's go back and make sure I didn't miss anything there. And I didn't. All right. CSS classes. With jQuery, it's easy to manipulate CSS elements, which means it's easy to add them, and it's easy to remove them. Notice that there's add class, remove class, toggle class. There's not an add ID, remove ID, and toggle ID. All right? So they're going to use this style sheet for their examples. Notice you've got important, which gives you a font weight that's bold, and an extra small font size, and it should be blue. So here we're adding the class important and the class blue. It's all right. This right there, that div added the class important. And what did that do? Again, in this case, it bolded it, made it extra large. These, the H1, the H2 added a class of blue, which changed the color to blue. So seeing it again here, these should all turn blue, and this should add something new. This div should get big and bold. These should all be blue. Okay? Again, you could specify multiple methods, and they are separated with one or more spaces, typically just a space. So again, they're big, the first one now was made extra large, bold, and blue. Just the same way that you can add classes, you can remove them. Boom, so we remove the blue. In other words, we remove the color class from there. You can toggle classes back and forth. You're seeing there's a pattern here with all this stuff. All right. And again, we could have come in here and we could have said toggle class blue space, what was it, important? And I don't think we have an important right here, but we'll put one in. Sorry. So we'll put in a class important here. And let's, we'll say font size 4M. We'll make it a lot bigger, 4 times its regular size. All right. Why it takes it sometimes and it doesn't take it other times, but hopefully you see what's going on. Okay? In fact, I'd be better off doing this anyway. Toggling it, pretty obvious with that kind of an effect what's happening. It's all becoming 4 times its size in the blue. Okay, all right. There is a CSS method which sets or returns one or more style properties, very similar to what we just looked at. So what does this say? Take all paragraphs and make them yellow. Pretty obvious what just happened there. Set multiple properties. Again, you can set multiple. So what this should do is this should take all paragraphs, make them yellow, and double their font size. All right, and finally in here on dimensions, with jQuery, it's easy to work with the dimensions of elements in the browser window. So you can work with the width, height, inner height, outer width, and outer height. And it's a great picture here because they're showing you everything. There's the element. You already know this from the box model. That's the padding, the border, and the margin. That's the height of the element. The inner height is everything, including the padding. The outer height is everything, including the padding and the border. And the outer width is basically everything, including element, padding, border, and margin. So it shows you the size. In other words, it's saying this is a 100 height by 300 width div. When you work with this, now these are going to be different. It says the inner width and the inner height. What does that mean? Well, there's 20 pixels that go around it because we've got 10 pixels of padding. So 10 here and 10 here. There's the outer ones. You notice it's fairly exact. So outer width, including padding and border. The border was 1 pixel solid blue, which is the reason that we had kind of that number there. So the following example returns the width and height of the document and the window. Why is that important? Because again, you could set these different things if you wanted to or needed to based on the size of the viewport. So if somebody was using if someone was using a mobile phone, for example, you could change this. And as you know, there are other ways this can be changed as well. This is resizing the div. Okay. So we've come to the end of another one. So when I come back, I'm going to go over traversing. All right, and then I think we might combine some of the next few together because there's a bunch of them that's very small. Then we'll do the last one as its own lesson. So I'll come back with traversing in just a second.